world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle.
One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one. Just practice, just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on down. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One box could leave you messed up and fractured. Block these uppercuts, they may leave you captured. May the best fighter win and win again. Battle to the top until his life ends. But if his life ends and he starts to decay, may one of his street soldiers avenge things. See you talking to the game, couldn't be talking to me. I got enough to beat and more soldiers to bury. You know it just clicked in and made you realize this game is twice as hard. You see that with your own eyes. You're on the way to choose your type of life, cause you gotta. I tell you from now, which fighter will be the hotter. I don't think you want this one. Just practice, just challenge me when you're ready with your tactics. High punch and spin kicks, watch your back split. I see you in the air when I make you back flip. Get it on down. Select to make your first pick. Get it on down.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, what's up, Internet? It is that time again. Class is back. It is March 3rd, 2026, here in the cold and chilly Pacific Northwest. How is everybody doing? And welcome back, because class is officially back in session. Well, if it's your first time here, welcome to Gamer Quotient / Gaming Academy. This is the show where we take the lessons we learn from gaming and apply them to how we think, how we compete, and how we level up in life. I'm your headmaster here, GQ Agent Dude, and tonight's lesson is simple. Make sure you take your vitamins, or vitamin SSS. That's right, not vitamin C, not vitamin D. Tonight, we're talking about 3 supplements every gamer needs that they want to improve. That's strategy, skill, systems, and we'll elaborate on that a little bit later with the tech. Because great players don't just react, they understand the game that they play. The mechanics, the timing, and the decision-making. Now, when those 3 things come together, that's when your gamer quotient starts to rise and increase. Tonight, we'll break down techniques, approaches, and ways of thinking that can help elevate your gameplay across genres. But that's not all. We're also introducing a brand new segment to the Academy, the Watchdog. Now, in this segment, we're going to keep our eyes on the gaming world and call attention to releases that might be flying under the radar for the right price and the right budget. Because not every game gets in the spotlight, and not every game is, worth buying at launch. Sometimes the best titles are the ones you find if someone else points them out. Now, think of it like this. The mainstream media press or the press might miss them, but the Watchdog does not. So stay tuned for that. So get comfortable, guys. Grab a controller and prepare to level up tonight, because tonight is class 68 starting right now. And when I say right now, I mean this immediate moment, because I'm going to bring out the crew here as always. Everybody, come on in. Say what's up to the crew, to the chat.
Welcome back. How's everybody doing?
Chilly. Chilly.
Everyone had a week.
Everyone had a damn week.
Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. We are back another week. It's been crazy on my end. Lots of sick baby again. So just living that life. And today the wife is sick. So outside of going to work, looking forward to the podcast tonight.
Sweet.
I have been, well, it should count as no surprise to anyone, but for the first time in actually like a good few months, I literally just sat down and had a sort of Dynasty Warriors music binge. Like literally, think it was what, Saturday morning. I got up, started training, and there was just one song from, I think it was Dynasty Warriors 8 that was stuck in my head. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just click play, and here we go. And I've kind of been revisiting those soundtracks since.
Nothing wrong with that. We were talking before this show about one of my favorite soundtracks, so I'm glad that you've got that rocking for you.
I can't wait until we get into conversations about game music. I'm so looking forward to that episode. I mean, I'm sure you guys have done it before, but I want to be included.
I'll be honest, Oliver. We have not. We kind of talk about it like during podcasts, like, "Oh, I love this OST," or "This is something that ties into one of our main topics," but we haven't done like an episode or a segment devoted to just OSTs. So that might be something. If you want to throw it on the docket, man, we could discuss that soon. Maybe chat wants to hear some stuff too, or on the Discord. If you're part of our Discord, let us know your favorite OSTs. We'll add that to the list, see if it meshes. If it's not Muso good, we'll find a spot for it.
Actually, no, not the jukebox. Sound test.
It's hard to listen to the open of the show every week with one of the best damn songs from a video game of all time.
Right?
I'm always hyped up, man. Come on, like Ace. What are the lyrics? Just quick.
Oh my god! And here I am.
That's
just
rough.
Select to make your first pick. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Choose and pick the best one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I ain't never heard no motherfucker do some shit off of Sesame Street and make it sound like the most baller thing ever. I learned how to count and how to write my alphabet for playing Street Fighter. That's what's up. Oh my god. Oh,
they're
man.
educating the youth as well as entertaining them. That's nice to see.
You want to be a warrior? I be the master. I can teach you how to fight and move faster. I'm like, well, you know what? He was right. He was absolutely right. Yeah.
Quick review off the top of your head. 3 OSTs that you still just listen to. We don't have to go into it hot, but this is kind of an interesting thing. Chat's already responded to it. So, like, I mean, beyond Dynasty Wars, which you just called out, Ace, is there 2 more OSTs that just kind of stick in your head? It's just like, I love these OSTs.
Oh, yeah. Bloody Roar, KOF 96.
All right, fighting games. Oliver, what about you?
Did you say 3 or 2?
3.
Persona 3, Mega Man 2, and Scott Pilgrim.
Hey,
just
excellent. Yeah. I remember OG Scott Pilgrim. We were talking about that, but like Anamanaguchi and that whole era of video game music as well was a whole thing.
Peak.
Yeah.
Absolute peak.
I see a couple people in chat. Oh, GQ threw out a couple. KI, Final Fantasy VII. Andre looks like he's about to drop a top 3, but if I have to call out 3, Persona 5, Mass Effect, I'm going to probably just say Mass Effect 1 just because it stands out to me still. And, of course, Street Fighter Third Strike.
Well, you mentioned Anamanaguchi. They were cooking when they did that first soundtrack for River City Ransom Underground.
God, now just talking about that era, I just remember going to PAX and seeing like MC Frontalot and just the entire zeitgeist around video game music. MC Chris as well, Fet's Vet, like all that. Like, oh man, it was an era.
Just the fact that you mentioned MC Frontalot makes me like you even more. Come on, man. Crime Spree's my track.
Yeah.
Crime Spree, that's my track. I go cycling to Crime Spree. I'm like, this is the most low rent fucking criminal I've ever heard of, and I always appreciated it. Deeply so.
Shout out to Andre. We got NieR Replicant, Soul Calibur 2, Jack and Daxter 1. Solid choices. Oh, yeah. Soul Calibur 2 is a solid one. I forgot about that. Sometimes
Brave Sword, Braver Soul, baby.
You guys hear me?
Oh, yes, is that the headmaster?
I'm back in the office.
Oh no. Here. Who's in trouble now?
All right, guys. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks actually. There's a stack of papers on my desk, and people have been submitting stuff, and I've been slacking. So sorry about that. But tonight, once again, the ever popular Jagos has sent me submitted more things to me here. wanted to share with you guys what he wanted to say. His submission is called "Where Curiosity Leads, Creativity Follows." All right, and I'll sum it up here because he did send me a bunch of links, and he did like a whole project. So tip a hat to you, Jagos. At the Academy, we often talk about legacy and the titans of the industry, the franchises that shaped our childhoods, and the nostalgia that keeps us pressing start long after the credits roll. But sometimes the most important discoveries in gaming don't come from what we already know. They come from what we stumble upon while exploring something new. Community member Jagos recently reminded us of the truth while traveling what he calls the road to indie, a path defined by not familiarity, but by curiosity. What began with a major industry spotlight, Sony's State of Play, and the announcement of God of War Sons of Sparta didn't end with a blockbuster excitement. Instead, it opened a door. A single studio credit led to a deeper dive, and that dive led somewhere unexpected into the wonderfully strange creative ecosystem of MegaCat Studios. And that's where the real story begins. Looking beyond the headlines, Jagos explored the studio's catalog and uncovered something delightfully unconventional. Bite the Bullet, a run-and-gun roguelite built around a mechanic that feels almost absurd on paper. You don't just defeat enemies, you eat them. Plants, drones, humans, everything becomes fuel for growth, power, and survival. It's bold, it's eccentric, and unapologetically weird. The controls may feel a little bit slippery, but there's no traditional duck mechanic. Survival often means tanking hits or jumping constantly, but those rough edges don't overshadow what stands out the most. Strong pixels craftsmanship, personality in design, and a clear sense that developers pour genuine passion into the experience. For a small price, Jagos didn't just find a game, he found an idea. A reminder that creativity thrives where convention loosens its grip. That's the defining truth of indie gaming. It isn't always about refinement, it's about expression. It's about studios experimenting with mechanics that larger productions might never risk. Jagos points to the other MegaCat projects like WrestleQuest as further proof that indie developers aren't afraid to chase unusual concepts if those ideas spark imagination. These games don't just entertain, they provoke thought. They inspire perspectives, they remind us that innovation rarely comes from repeating what already works, and that begins us to the lesson from today's desk. The road to indie isn't paved with expectations, it is paved with discovery. I'm going to end this real quick here. It rewards the curious, it celebrates the unconventional, it invites us to look past polish and ask a more meaningful question. Does this game have something to say? Does the greatest value in gaming isn't found in massive budgets or familiar names? It's found in passion, experimentation, and the courage to be different. So thank you, Jagos, for the reminder. Class, keep exploring because the paths that feel strange, unusual, or even a little chaotic are often the ones that expand what gaming and creativity itself can truly become. All right, that is the Headmaster's Desk submission through Jagos. I will run back there to the studio, discuss as I return.
So, in regards to what was mentioned on that particular edition of the Headmaster's Desk, I sat down and started playing WrestleQuest over the course of the week. Oh boy! It's how can I put this? It's the Mario RPGs on Game Boy Advance, like, you know, it's the Mario and Luigi RPGs, but centered around like 80s and 90s wrestling. I mean, literally, like it takes place effectively in a toy box, right? You are playing this game from the viewpoint of a kid, you know, using his imagination, playing with his little wrestling figures. And this whole world is centered around how various wrestlers are like big time legends, specifically Macho Man Randy Savage. And one of your two protagonists in the game is a guy by the name of Randy Santos, who adopts the moniker Muchacho Man.
Oh, now I want to think of tachos, man.
Like,
Man,
I'm sold.
it's a wild time. And I saw I just saw like a couple of clips from Jagos actually playing it because we were chilling in one of the audio channels on the Academy Discord. Y'all should join. And like, not only did he show me how the different specials and everything else works, and how the basic combat works, but he actually showed off that there was a legit 3-count pin mechanic in the game.
Nice. Yeah.
The moment he showed me that, I was locked in.
Yeah. I remember seeing everything leading up to that, and actually on one of the points that brought up and made me think of just like chasing unusual concepts or making like blending of ideas work along the lines of WrestleQuest. Punch Club was one of those games that I ended up checking out because it takes literally like tycoon management games, which are my jam, but kind of forces it into this like boxing storyline, which I watched a lot of Rocky, so I'm just like, okay, so it's like Rocky meets tycoon management game, but there's branching storylines, like sign me up kind of thing. So
Okay.
just kind of going out there, trying new things, blending new ideas, and just trying a different perspective.
Sorry, I'm muted. What'd I miss?
Oh no, just talking about Mega Cat bangers. Oh, speaking of bangers, their first game, literally their first outing, is a brawler.
Uh-oh.
It's called Coffee Crisis.
That sounds crazy.
Imagine Metalocalypse meets Streets of Rage, and your two main characters are, as they put it, the last baristas on Earth. And go.
That's fun.
I think a point was made with the headmaster's desk today that was just it really it hit close to home for me. I honestly can say that over the past 15, 16 years, if I had to go through an entire list of everything I played, I'm going to find more indie games on that list as opposed to AAA games. I'm now at the point where I don't even stream AAA games on release. I don't do it with personal exceptions. Like, I didn't care how many people were playing Monster Hunter Wilds. I didn't care. No, Monster Hunter is what I do. It's my thing. I enjoy it. But other than that, I haven't touched Resident Evil Requiem, right? Like, nope, I'm not going to do it because it is messy. It is super, super, super messy looking at brand new AAA releases. Oftentimes we've all been talking about that derivative design and that kind of stuff like that. I've been playing for too long. I've been playing games for approaching half of a damn century, right? There's a lot of stuff that people do that I've already seen. So it's show me something new. Show me something I haven't seen before. Something so just out there, outrageous, odd that my curiosity is going to make me get in there and go, let's find out what the hell you're doing over here. And then go, oh, look at that. I've never seen that before. That's neat, right? And then I want to keep going to go, okay, are you going to carry that energy all the way through the experience? So no, most of the time, my time spent streaming is generally speaking double A's, single A's, and indie games. And, like little stuff that would just be completely missed. One of my favorite roguelikes just over, probably 4 or 5 years back. I would have to double check, but Curse to Golf. Mwah. If you love hot shots and you like roguelikes, you play Curse to Golf, right? It's like Salt and Sanctuary. You're like, can you take this and put this 2D and make it work? Turns out, yes, you can. It's brilliant. It's just actual stroke of brilliance. So no, I think there's absolutely a value in this space, and we're all still trying to get used to that idea.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Matter of fact, I think there's more variety in indie games, and I've said this before on the channel and the podcast. Indie games feel like the games we used to play back in the day, right? There was no investment anchored attached to it, to where like they want to take all our money away, right? It's just you get the game, and there's the game, there's the dream, there's the passion. It's all there. So that's just kind of how I feel when I play these indie games versus these AAA titles.
I will say that it's becoming harder and harder to find those gems, like really, really hard. There's so many games being pushed out right now, and Steam it's kind of been on the top of industry topics lately. It's just Steam is just covered with a deluge of just like these indie games that kind of come out. Some are slops, some are not. Like we're starting to butt up against like we're getting too many indie games. It's hard to tell which ones are worth getting, which ones aren't. Kind of reminds me when AAA was starting to take off, and you're just like, there's a huge marketing budget behind all these. I don't have enough time for all these. Which ones are the right ones to get? So trying to be smarter about your purchases, just demos again would be great. And you're starting to see more games on Steam that I've seen that have an option for demos. Like Replaced got a demo, and I'm like, I know I want that game already, but now I can play a demo for it. Like, let me try that really quick.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, man, I'm looking forward to making more memories out of these games, these indie games and these indie darlings as we move forward through the industry and wherever it's going, right? So, but keep an eye out there, guys. There's a lot of indie games coming along and a lot of memories to be had, because that will bring us to our next segment, of course. Memory Card Chronicles. Hey, yo. Let's go. All right. For the first time here, this is the part of the show where we cover basically from 1 week of gaming for specific games that just resonate with us. And each of us are going to cover one game this week, and we're going to rotate through. And, I would love to hear everyone's, memory or thoughts of the game that it's brought up for said day. So starting with March 1st, I will bring this up on the screen. It is me starting it off. It is the Zone of the Enders. Where did everybody go? There you go. All right. I'm going to be real with y'all. I got this game just for the stinking demo, right? And the demo was literally the selling point for this. I knew nothing of Zone of the Enders except it was produced by Hideo Kojima. And then I played it. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Specifically because during that time, I was on Cartoon Network a lot watching this show called Tech Command Blade, right? And this is a space mecha, and Ace just threw down his hands, and he knows what I'm talking about. And I was basically playing Tech Command Blade and Gundam kind of combined, but still, like, it was. My mission here was to get a demo of the game and try it out because it was being advertised to play the demo. You got to get some of the Enders. But it ended up being a short but sweet, a very highly produced game. Love the opening song in the beginning. Love the soundtrack. Love the characters. And unfortunately, I don't think this game has been kind of like touched by Konami in a long time. So I'd love to hear what's everyone's experience with Zone of the Enders here, on the panel.
Everything that you just said, that's the same thing I saw happen. People got it, not because they wanted to play it, but because they wanted that damn demo from Metal Gear Solid 2, right? And then all my homies who were into mech stuff were like, wait a minute, this might be one of the greatest mecha games I've ever seen in my life, right? And I'm like, is it? Like, I don't know. No, that I saw that exact same thing play out. It's kind of like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. You came for the bikinis, and then you were like, wait a minute, this is a competitive volleyball game. This is amazing.
It was a happy accident. Is what they call it, right? Happy accident.
Right.
Yeah. Ace, Nick, have you played Zone of the Enders?
I did not.
For me, it was basically the same thing. Like, got the game because I wanted the demo for Metal Gear Solid 2. Sat down, played the demo, played it out, and then I'm like, okay, let's see what Zone of the Enders about. I pop in and I'm like, so Kojima can do mechs as well.
You're right. You're right.
Wound up absolutely loving the game. Like you said, from the gameplay to the soundtrack, following Leo's story, it was such a ride.
Yeah, well, hopefully, we get more, and I know they remastered the collection on the PS4, right? So, and since Konami's coming back, I wholeheartedly believe, I hope and wish that we get a new Zone of the Enders in some way or form. So, Shout out to Kojima for giving us Zoe, is what I call it. All right. Whoa, this one's interesting. All right, moving on to day March 2nd here with M&M or Media Molecule. This one's Nick's choice.
Yeah, there was a couple games today that I could easily call out as like good honorable mentions for this day, but I felt like calling out Media Molecule being acquired by Sony in 2010 as a very kind of important day in video game history, and something that kind of stands out to me because this company was founded in 2006 by former Lionhead devs, and I didn't realize that till after the fact. I was a fan of Lionhead, played a lot of Fable back in the day, but those vets went and gave PlayStation a super recognizable IP and sort of a mascot with Little Big Planet. I remember this a lot because this was really the game and the mascot that defined that era for me. Like the PS3 era was very much like Little Big Planet became a thing. It was part of marketing everywhere. Started getting tied into things. The cute little sack boy, bringing back a little bit of the platforming that we eventually started seeing later with some other titles, a new platforming renaissance. But that's really what I remember them for was Little Big Planet. They did have a couple other titles. Tearaway and Dreams were the last two titles that they really worked on. The company did have layoffs that hit in 2023 and 2024, but hey, they still exist. The last thing they did was release some updates to Dreams a couple of years ago, and apparently they're still working on a new title right now. We have no idea what it is, and hopefully we'll get some news before too long, but I know they've shrunk down a little bit. But yeah, man, this era of PS3 was defined by Media Molecule. So shout out to them being acquired back in the day, and I'm glad that they're still around.
Yeah. Starting with you, Ace. You got experience with Media Molecule games?
Just a little bit of experience with Little Big Planet too, but just seeing some of the different games that were actually made using that engine, it's mind blowing. It's like, so we effectively had a game maker studio right there on the PS3.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. That was like the most interesting part about Little Big Planet is like this little play box like you get,
I wonder how much, like looking back on it, you can kind of say it's a little bit of like Icarus getting too close to the sun. Like we got Little Big Planet pretty often, but it seems like it got kind of burnt out and they started to go into other things. Oliver, did you play much in the way of the Little Big Planet games?
Ooh, boy. Yeah. I've played them all. In fact, for me, Little Big Planet was the very first thing I ever touched on the PS3. In fact, Little Big Planet is such a big part of my life. That was the one of the latest things that I've made and put on my store was a depiction of one of the people dreaming about the Little Big Planet. That's like one of my latest artworks because it's such a huge deal. And I remember exactly how it jumped off. I sat down, boom, had the PS3, had no fucking games. I was like, okay, let me go get this demo, right? And then I was like, I still don't get it. And I picked it up. I was like, just jump in all the way. And then I started fucking around in create mode and I had to stop. I called my boy. I was like, dog, you need to drive to town right now. I'm not even bullshit. My wife will confirm this. I was like, you need to drive down here right now. He was in the next, he was like 3 towns over. I was like, you got to come over and see this shit. And he was like, what is this nonsense? And he was like, oh shit, we can do shit. we can do shit. And I was like, yeah, they're over here cooking. From that moment on, it was just, it was everything. It was everything. I eat, sleep, and breathe Little Big Planet. It was such a huge privilege to go to E3 and to get hands-on time with Little Big Planet, with the PlayStation Move and all that. And of course, I've played every Little Big Planet, and this ultimately culminates in my favorite thing, which is my son now has my Sackboys from Little Big Planet. Apparently, his name is Arnold. The Sackboy's name is Arnold. According to that kid, why? I have no clue. I'm like, all right, Arnold it is. No, I love Little Big Planet, and Media Molecule is just aces.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I think my since we're in Memory Card Chronicles, the biggest thing that really hits me with Little Big Planet, someone made a Silent Hill 2 level. From what I remember, because you can download other people's creations and play them, which is like infinite game, by the way. Think about this. It's infinite game. It was just pretty scary. It made Little Big Planet scary, and I hate that person. I want to throw that in. I want to throw that in.
Tiny little footnote in that regard with just Little Big Planet and what they did there. You basically can't get any Little Big Planet anymore. The whole server infrastructure and everything kind of went to shit. They were getting hacked, like what happened with Dark Souls, but it was a case of this is not worth continuing to invest our time in. So they're not even, you can't even purchase them standalone offline. No, it's done. Right? It's very sad.
Chad, this is why we can't have good things. I hate you. You know who I'm talking to.
Buy your shit physical, folks.
Right.
Game preservation is important.
Well, the next one here was basically impossible for me to buy physical when I was a kid because this system was way out of my price range, and this is Ace's choice for this week. Double Dragon for the Neo Geo in what, 1995? Is that what I hear?
Yep.
Okay, out of my price range. Go ahead.
So I picked this particular game because, firstly, I played it before I saw the movie. This game was based on the 1995 movie with Robert Patrick, Alyssa Milano, Scott Wolf, and still one of my favorite martial artists at the time, Mark Dacascos. Now, when I first played this, it was literally like I walked 2 or 3 blocks down from my place, and there's a laundromat right by the Albertsons there. So I hop in, I see what's on the screen. Like I hop in and see what's in the arcade, and I literally see this opening screen here, and I'm like, wait, this is Double Dragon? And then I see a Bobo pick up Marion, and I'm like, tell me more. I'm interested. And just getting to sit down and play this, and I just like with Oliver, I literally ran outside to the payphone. I had some extra quarters, and I literally called up like 5 or 6 of my friends right there, and I'm like, y'all, you need to come to the laundromat. There's a new Double Dragon game out. And they're like, what are you talking about? This ain't Double Dragon 5, fellas. Get down here. Had the whole crew fill in the laundromat for like 4.5 hours that afternoon, just going back and forth, playing matches, picking the different characters. The most recent update to Double Dragon Gaiden, the meme character Bimmy, or as GQ calls him, Brogeta.
That's him.
It's a fusion of Billy and Jimmy Lee, but what's more is that they use a lot of the specials and a lot of the same techniques that Billy and Jimmy use in their transformed states in this game right here.
Get out. I did not know that.
Yes, sir. And also, a little bit of voice actor trivia. 2 of my, I didn't know their names at the time, but 2 of my favorite, video game voice actors are actually both Billy and Jimmy. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about
Hey,
Double
you're going to drop that and then not say who?
Right? Who?
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you the names real quick. Let's see. For Billy, it's Hikaru Midorikawa. He was also Japanese voice actor for Hero and Gundam Wing.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I recognize that.
And Jimmy was voiced by the late Kaneto Shiozawa. He originally voiced Eddie in Zyto 1 in Guilty Gear.
All right.
Word. Okay.
I have no experience with this title. That's kind of cool to hear about.
So, yeah, that's what I got for Double Dragon. But what do you guys think? Y'all pretty much mentioned that you haven't had the chance to go hands-on with this, or
not the Neo Geo version. That is way outside my experience.
Right? The young folks don't know. They don't know that a fucking Neo Geo was like a $600 machine in 1990s money.
Wait.
No,
The
you ain't selling
Amazon?
one kidney.
Like the cabinet
You
that was
selling
on?
both kidneys, and you still got to pay. You still got to come up with a payment plan to get your hands on a Neo Geo.
And here's the thing: the worst part about it, the cabinet that it was on had World Heroes, KOF 95, and fucking Samurai Showdown.
Damn.
So even then, you were spoiled for choice on that machine.
Oh yeah.
That was Ace's laundry, man. 100%.
Oh, you better fucking believe it.
Come down
Game
here.
in the
I
machine.
don't need to do laundry. Get dirty on purpose.
Man.
Get down to the laundromat.
Yo,
I
wash
just-
his clothes.
Sauce,
After
man.
seeing that, I hopped on eBay really quick. I could get a Neo Geo AES console completed box, like a collector's bundle with a stack of games, for $8,000, or I can buy a Neo Geo 2 game system cabinet for $3,000. Like,
Or you can emulate.
I know.
Ugh.
Oh, it's silly. It's like Mugen exists.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what else is crazy? Oliver's choice for the 4th, because man, I got a story after you tell yours, man. This bad boy here is a legendary. The epic in the year 2000. In the year 2000. The PS2 came out in Japan.
And the crazy thing is, I'm not even going to spend too much time on it because I know that everyone's got something major to say about this. So we're just gonna, we're gonna keep it brief. Obviously, it launched this day in the year 2000, 26 years back. Crazy, right? But people consistently ask, they go, "Hey, what do you think is the greatest generation game?" So, well, it's this one right here, right? They changed and shifted the standards of everything, right? When people were starting to make the changeover to DVDs, right? Like, and it's like, nope, this is the thing. We're moving away from VHS. This was the cheapest DVD player you could get your hands on, right? And the fact that they were like, hey, we're not doing like Nintendo, in most cases. Bring your entire library with you. Oh, you already had controllers you've already invested. Bring those too. Oh, bring your PS1 memory cards. Everything that you had with your PlayStation 1 still works here. It was just the PlayStation evolved. It was that much better. And it's just literally, this is a moment in time that is an explosion of creativity. To this day, I don't think there's a single piece of hardware that has a more varied library available to the most amount of people. If you liked fighting games, come on, Ace and I will sit there right there and tell you, you had your Guilty Gear over there, right? You had Capcom versus SNK 2, right? We were cooking. If you wanted a shoot 'em up, you had things like Winback, but you also had things like Gungrave 1 and 2, right? All the kids were on their damn Madden NFL, right? That was just an annual event. It would, if you wanted to find something to play, you were going to find it on the PS2. It is, in my opinion, the most game-changing piece of hardware in game history, even with all the revisions that would come. But I want to pass it on to you guys and see what you have to say about the PS2.
Honestly, like what I have to say about the PS2 would likely fill the entire 2 freaking hours, so I'm going to try and keep it brief. Not only did it just change the standard in the industry and in the hobby by and large, but it legitimately changed how I not only interacted with the hobby and with the craft, but it legitimately changed me as a person, because that expansion of hardware firepower, the ability to actually bring my rather substantive PS1 collection and the hardware and the memory cards. And on top of that, it was also my first DVD player. So I pick up this bad boy. I'm in college, and not only am I using it for games, and mom and dad are having a blast watching me play Final Fantasy X and Bloody Roar 3, but they also have a couple of DVD movies. I got my hands on Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust and Tekken Blade 2, and it turned into a family thing.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
what I
sure.
was gonna say for the PS2, honestly, was I got it well after the fact. I didn't get it when it first came out. I got it after I started working at a retro store. The biggest thing I want to call out, thing that I'm always shocked about with the PS2, was just the range of the games from the beginning when it launched to the end. The fact they could play PS1 games as well. You felt like you had this massive library of just like this timeline of gaming, where it came from and where it ended up at. Like the 5 best-selling games for the PS2, I had to look it up: San Andreas, Gran Turismo 3, Vice City, Gran Turismo 4, Grand Theft Auto 3. Like, that just tells you, like, that era of games, what dominated at that time. But it still had a gigantic library. It had the biggest library, I want to say, of any video game console. Massive library. And the jump from the beginning to the end is just, it's huge. Also, all the accessories for it. It kind of reminded me, like, all the stuff that came out for Game Boys, like a little bit of everything. Like, this had multi-taps. GQ in the chat was talking about that vertical stand. The PS2, actually, that era had a VR, like, glass headset kind of thing as well, if you didn't know that. There was so much weird stuff that came out. The network adapter, too. Like, that console evolved so much over its lifespan, and it's hard to overstate that. It's one of the reasons it was so successful for so long. They kept trying new things.
The PS2 is like the millennial of the consoles, right? It is the bridge from like no internet to internet, kind of like, you know, our age range. So, but the memory card chronicle that I have for this, the story I have for this, and I'll keep it short. It's shout out to my pops, because this story goes out to him, and he recently passed, so I want to honor him by telling the story. I might have said this before last year, but long story short, we were at Toys R Us and we were looking for a PS2. He was ready to buy me one, and you know, this was like November, because it came out October 20th ish in the US.
Yep.
And you know, in Toys R Us back in the day, you would have to find a slip to go get the slip and then bring it to the back, and they pick you up the console, right? That's how that worked back in the day. Well, you know, as expected, no slips on where the PS2 was, and I was disappointed. So we were just like, just go get a game right now. Go get like a PlayStation game or something. Okay, cool. We were at the checkout line, and the guy in front of me had the last slip. He was like, I'm here for a PS2. And he was like picking it up. And I don't know if it was like God's will or whatnot, but like he didn't have his wallet on him for some reason. So he was like, can't buy this. And the guy asked to hold it. And he was like, can't hold it. It's a hot item. And my dad was like, I'll buy it right now. I'll give you a credit card. So that's how I obtained my PS2. Shout out to Pops. And story behind how I acquired a PS2 due to somebody else's misfortune. But hey, the lesson from that is I didn't buy memory cards. I played Dynasty Warriors 2 over and over again, first stage, and it was that was my karmic rebuttal. So, that is my memory card chronicle for the PlayStation 2.
Tiny little side story on this. Just because when Nick mentioned Grand Theft Auto 3, it really took me back to that time. So we had that launch then, and and then next year, oh boy, it gets crazy on releases in that next year in 2001. And when I was, just for perspective for people, I'm 44 years old now. I mention it a lot, but it's to help give context. That said, Final Fantasy X came out right on my birthday, or right about my birthday in 2001, so I'm 19 years old. I took that bad boy home. I took 3 days off work. I was working at GameStop. I beat the ever-loving dog shit out of Final Fantasy X in the 3 days off from work, recorded it on VHS, brought that shit into work, and I was like, yeah, I beat it over the weekend. My boss is like, you're a fucking liar. I was like, I thought you'd say that. I busted out that VHS and put it into the TV. I was like, there's the end of the game right there. So how'd I do that?
That's
and
I feel you on that, man. I feel you, because I think I used to do the same. When I get an ending for a game, I would record it and show it to my cousins to prove that I beat it, because they would never believe me.
They were never going to believe you. But to wrap that story, the super special thing is yesterday, I sat right here and watched my son play To Xanarkin on piano. And I had the most ratatouille ass moment of all time. I said, and went all the way back to 19 years old. And I was like, oh, this is the bridge. How utterly sweet. Good.
That's where you went with that. I thought you were like, you just started controlling him. You're just like, you're playing it wrong. Don't you dare ruin this masterpiece.
I will end you and then make another one that looked just like you. Do it right the first time.
This is what happened to the one that came before you.
No. I'm getting flashbacks.
He's going to record that and then share it with us. Like, yes, I did. Full circle.
I'll make another one. Hits me pretty hard. Speaking of masterpieces, this is gonna go back to me on the 5th of March back in 2013. If you guys didn't know, I freaking love SimCity, all of them, especially the Super Nintendo one. But today we're going to be talking about 2013, which is the most failed one, actually, all of them. IMO, due to the always online feature during the time that these companies were trying to get us to do and to kind of basically submit to. And well, if you're going to do that, at least make the game function, because the servers were not working properly when this game first came out. And if you guys, have any more stories about that, that'd be great. But for those that don't know what SimCity is, well, and there's a lot of sim games out there. The city one is my most favorite, and there's a lot of them. So it's a take your pick, take your poison, choose your aesthetic. If for some reason you just love managing a big city and seeing it grow and develop, right? SimCity is the game of choice. So, yeah, guys, what are your takes on SimCity?
I do have a take on that. It's that year was the same year I released my second book, and because I was taking a break from doing journalism, I was like, you know what, and health issues and all kinds of other stuff. So it was a packed year, and I remember this coming out and watching the divide happen between journalists and gamers, and people going, why is this shit online? SimCity does not need to be online. And watching journalists go, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know anything about games, you don't know anything about game design. Like, I actively was watching this hatred between these two audiences form. And then a couple days later, a modder or maybe it was a programmer from some other company jumped into the files and everything, and he found a way to make that game completely function offline. And EA was like, oh, the game can't function offline. It's like basically one guy busted out everyone, right? That one guy came in and made everyone look stupid with just a couple of lines of code. He's like, nope, the game works, right? It's just them trying to get money out of you. And it was that, watching that catastrophe unfold, I think that's the thing that killed SimCity. I think that's the biggest moment where trust in EA, like it boiled up to it, boiled over, right? Completely. People were already wary of them, but I think this incident with SimCity and the fact that they haven't revisited SimCity in all this time, I think it was basically the nail in the coffin for a bunch of stuff, from customers trusting developers to developers not trusting the press to press not trusting customers, and it's just this horrible circle that goes round and round.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I didn't know about that, but I think this has been reduced to a mobile game now. Like most games that are dying. So, Ace Nick,
right? And who? Just as a question, who is it that's been taken over? What is it? Is it like City Skylines or something like that? That's
City
basically
Skylines.
SimCity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, because
that's basically the new SimCity now.
Yeah. I don't have anything as far as like this SimCity goes. Like the last SimCity game I played was it, SimCity 2000?
Still good. There is no wrong SimCity in my eyes. Yeah. I think the last thing I'll add, I don't know if Nicky had something.
I was just gonna say I've played Sim for a long time. One of my first games I ever had, I called this up before, was Sim Town. Yeah. So I was always into the sim games growing up. I remember seeing the Maxis logo and everything, so I followed it up through this. And yeah, this one was kind of trash. The moment it started feeling like an online platform was the moment it took away the magic for me. It started to like monetize our time so much. It's just like, that's not why I played this game. I just this doesn't feel right anymore. It's just not for me. It just felt at that point this was one of those games which is like, I guess I just outgrew it. It's past where I am nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to add, like, the thing that they wanted to do was you were actually giving the options to put your Sims into the city eventually, and the online feature was for you to connect your city with other cities so they would interact with each other. Great idea, but not everyone thinks that way, and I think you should always have the option to be. SimCity was never online before, so at least have the option for that. That's it.
But real OGs, they play Metropolis Mania on the PS2. No, seriously, I'm serious, folks at home. Go look that game up. It's like SimCity, but you're actually the mayor. You got to walk around town. You got to solve people's problems. They mad about the mailbox, right? You're like, oh, I got to fix this. No, it's a great game. It's a weird one.
On the 6th. Oh, this one's interesting because I play this physically. All right, Magic the Gathering on the PC. Wild.
I was going to say that was such a weird thing for you to say until I saw what was loaded. You're like, I play this physically. I'm like, fuck you, me. I'm like, what are you doing? Playing games astrally? Are you astrally projecting? Are you fucking Doctor Strange? Are you wrong?
He is.
Oh my gosh. What the fuck does that mean?
Headmaster's watching you right now. Yeah, I decided to call this one out. So the brewery that I work at has started doing Magic Mondays, and I have mentioned before, but I didn't play Magic back in the day. It was one of those things where I felt like my parents kind of treated it a little bit like Doom. It's like it's the devil's thing. It wasn't anything religious. I'm not saying like that. It's just more so it had that stigma, kind of like D&D early on. It's just like, this is for those kids that stay inside all day. Like, that's not what you should be into. They're probably like worshiping Satan and stuff. Probably shouldn't get into it. So I just never had that experience. That being said, until I tried, playing, because a couple friends would like lend me their spare cards and like show me how to play in high school. I remember this clearly. I went over to a friend's house and played this game. Funny enough, like doing a little bit of research, seeing it was like this happened this day in gaming history. It's still mentioned as one of the best, if not the best, Magic the Gathering games ever made, still to this day. And this was 1997. I had cards up to the 5th edition, and it was an open world RPG game and a deck builder. Like, you go up and you fight wizards, you beat them, you grab cards, like very early deck builder kind of game. But like I said, I played this well before I ever touched the actual card game. And it's crazy now working at where I'm at right now, and people are still just loving the series so much and still doing a regular thing. I think we had 52 players show up for our last Magic Monday just to, drink beer, eat pizza, and play Magic. It was just such a cool vibe, and it's just like I had to call it out, this day. So I don't know if you guys played this title in particular. James, I know you played the card game, but did you play this PC game?
No, I didn't even know this game existed. The first Magic PC game or game that I played on like a video game was the Duels with the Planeswalkers on the PS3. It was like a digital only game, and it was more like the original Magic the Gathering game versus this.
I didn't know this shit existed either, and now
love it.
It's like, because I mean, I was in high school when Magic dropped, right? I mean, just like everything you said, that's exactly what I saw. People are getting all weird. It's like, it's just a fucking card game. Don't make a big deal out of it. But just looking at this footage helps to add a whole new context to a bunch of other shit, right? Like, I'm going, oh, this is where Triple Triad came from in Final Fantasy VIII, right? Like, I'm really looking at it, I'm like, yes, of course, right? And other, deck building roguelikes, like, oh, so there's a very clear video game precedent long before anybody else was going, oh, here's, no, like, this looks really interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of messing me up. I'm like, wait a minute, this looks like it cooks.
Yeah, and like I said, this was one of those things, like, I pulled it up, and I pulled up the gameplay, and I completely forgot it was, like, an RPG game with a deck building, like, attachment to it. It took the card game and put it into a video game space. In 1997,
That's
like,
wild,
right? And
Years ahead
that's
of
one of the
anybody.
reasons I had to call out. It's just like, look what people were doing back then.
Yeah,
That's
that's some wild shit.
it's amazing.
Everybody else is over here playing Doom, and you're over here playing fucking actual fourth dimensional chess, tapping lands and ass and like, whatever else it takes. Good God!
Gotta be honest, that cover art still slaps. That is so cool and classic. It's definitely that would be a big box PC game I'd love to have. The old Micro Prose logo too.
Word.
Anyone in chat know which card that is that's on the screen?
The screen got pulled down.
Oh, never mind. I'm laggy. Okay, never mind. Just put it in chat.
Challenge level expert. Is this your card?
All right, the last game of the week is on the 7th with Ace. And this thing is a game that everybody loves, and apparently except me. I don't know why. So,
You're not the only one.
all right. NieR Automata. Tell us more.
Now, this one in particular, the day one edition dropped like literally a week or two after the original release. Like, honestly, there's a lot that I could say about this game, but I'm going to try and sum it up as best I can, simply putting it like this. Sorry, the game dropped 2 weeks after the original street date. But even with, that extra release, I wanted to call this game out because of just how much fun I had playing through the game and exploring the 26 different ending routes in the game. But the big thing about this is that the true ending of the game, it did something that very few games these days do. It actually thanked the players for playing the game. 4 simple words that may not seem like much in the grand scheme, but when a game ends its credits or has in its credits, and you, or says thank you for playing, it immediately reinforces a player's connection, not just to the game, but to the effort they put into beating it. But it also reinforces that vicarious connection to the developers and the effort that they put into making the game. They're showing that appreciation to you for spending your time with them, much like how we appreciate every week you spend your 2 hours with us. It's that same sort of thing, but it's that connection, it's that respect, that mutual respect that is honestly lacking in a lot of the gaming space today, and it's something that I hope more folks start to bring back. But that right there is, the big reason why I wanted to call out NieR Automata. Again, I know, the game got a lot of hype, but there are also folks like Headmaster or hell, like even Oliver, like, they didn't vibe with it. But
the demo didn't capture me.
Right, and that's A-okay. But I still say this, like, the fact that during the true ending, it takes so much time to really focus on pulling the player into the struggle that is happening at the end of the game without like overtly breaking the fourth wall. And again, just that connection to the players where they say, you can do this. You're a part of this journey. You're a part of this fight, and we appreciate every second you put in. It really hits hard.
With you.
It resonated, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. This was one I gave a try because there was so much hype around it. It wasn't on my radar originally. And I checked it out and I thought it was good. I liked it. I just didn't have that much time to invest in it because I heard about all of the endings, and I'm that kind of player where it's just like I gotta get the endings or I gotta get the exact right one. I just didn't have the time to put into it, and it fell into my backlog and I didn't finish it. But let's call out the this game releasing and a new MVP for non-male cosplay, because everywhere the characters for years on the cosplay scene, thanks to this game and the notoriety it got. It's got style.
I know that. One thing I know for sure, GQ has immaculate taste, right? No, this game does not gel with me. I'm better than that. Like, yes, I call this game Oliver's Bane because I fucking hate it that much, right? Like, I'm like Gandalf. I will fight this game while falling into the pits of Middle Earth. It doesn't matter. But I do think there's interesting things that happen with it, because Ace hears me talk about this all the time, where even games I don't like, I try to find something really positive about them, or I try to find something interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ace. As I recall, isn't one of the endings put you in a position where they will delete your save, but it provides a benefit to anyone else playing the game?
Yep.
I can't remember the
true ending.
It's like I can't remember the details behind that, but it's like no, it's real. We are going to delete your save, but what is the context behind that?
As far as like the exact context behind it, well, this isn't even trying to avoid spoilers. I'm just trying to remember it right off the bat because it has been a while since I played through this. But yeah, like during the true ending, like, and this is ending. I want to say, like, it's two endings in one. Ending D and E. Ending E is the one that deletes your save, but any others, it's kind of an asynchronous multiplayer kind of thing because any others actually going through that ending will basically get a boost, like they'll get a temporary boost, but it'll literally show like a message that you decide to put in, encouraging that player to keep fighting through.
That's pretty cool. That's is that an online thing?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty neat. I like that. It's so subtle, subtle.
Yeah, I just checked the notes on it. After completing the game the player is given the option to delete all of their save data in order to help other players complete that ending. It's not required, but you'll be asked every time the player completes ending E. That's just, see, that's the kind of shit, that's something I hadn't seen before, right? So I'm just like, that's interesting. It's a very Demon Souls thing. Oh, you're playing together, but you're not. What do you mean? And then you see it, you go, that's fucking different. Right? So I got to give him props to that. And also Yoko Taro, when everyone was off making prawn of 2B, he was like, hey, somebody zip this shit up and send it to me. He really did. He was like, no, that's good. He's good. Can you put that in a zip file? Can I have it? And everyone's like, are you serious? He's like, fuck yes. People just lost their minds over that. That's when everyone's like, nope, he's the greatest dude ever. Especially comparing and contrasting to what had just happened a few years ago with BioShock Infinite and Elizabeth, and Ken Levine was like, this is really gross and it bothers me, and people just did it harder, right? So it's all about how you would approach and tackle that kind of controversy.
Like people are going to do what they do either for spite or because you say you want it on the joke.
Chad, I'll give it another shot because I heard that Yoko Taro basically wanted to have Evangelion as a game. And so I like Evangelion.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get a little further in it, to be honest. Having played a little bit myself, I know what your fandoms are. But I can understand it people bouncing off it. There's plenty of people that tried it because of the hype around it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
He also made a pitch for a Monster Hunter game that sounds fucking horrifying. He was like, oh no. He's like, if I were to do Monster Hunter, every time you kill a monster, you're actually unknowingly aiding in the destruction of the town. And when everything's all over, it'll just be fucking apocalypse. I'm like, this dude is nuts. What's he doing? Yeah, fuck it. I'd play it. Like, if they brought him as a guest designer, they're like, yeah, you ain't ever seen Monster Hunter.
That sounds like Evangelion.
Well, again, no matter what your opinions on the NieR games may be, do remember this is also the same man that brought us Drakengard.
That doesn't help.
Ace,
that is also a sad
stop digging that hole, man. You're not helping it right now.
That doesn't help. Matter of fact, that's worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
it's got you there.
All right. So, something more lively. Nick, thank you guys for also for our memory card chronicles.
All right, class. Sorry, I just stepped on your toes, Headmaster.
Nope.
Can I hop in here?
Jump in, man.
All right, class. Before we continue today's lesson, we've got a quick merch spotlight. GQ, throw up a picture here. We've got some merch that you see there. Look, if you've ever looked at gaming as more than just button mashing, if you see it as strategy, focus, discipline, mindset, then this one's for you. Introducing the official Gamer Quotient Neurogamer Unisex Tee. We have the mug on here. We've got a couple other fun things we're throwing up on the screen right now. But the t-shirt, it isn't just a shirt. It's a statement. The Neurogamer represents the player who thinks ahead, the player who studies mechanics, the player who adapts, evolves, and levels up, in-game and in life. Clean design, bold identity, comfortable fit, perfect for streams, conventions, gym sessions, Magic the Gathering at your latest brewery that you want to hang out with me at, or just repping the mindset out in the world. Because here, we don't just play games, we train. We level up, we increase our gamer quotient. So the real question is, what's your gamer quotient? Grab the Neurogamer tee, links in the chat and on the screen.
Thank you, Nick. I'd
Hey.
love to see it.
You'll love to see it.
I'd
Not
love to see
Drakengard.
Oh boy, I'm not living that one down either, am I?
Nope. No, you're not.
Okay.
Yet another thing in the grand story that is
Giving
our boy
Ace
Ace on stream. It's Moose So Good. Just wait. We sell enough of these, you're going to get a Moose So Good line. I've had enough people in chat talking about it since that dropped.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make that happen. I'm gonna make that happen no matter what. That's gonna be the first unique signature clothing that represents each of the hosts of this show. And we're gonna start with Moose So Good. And I swear on my soul and on my honor as a fucking idiot that I am going to make that happen. And it's probably gonna be the greatest shirt that Ace ever wears in his life.
Oh, you know I'm gonna order it.
Oh yeah.
We're going to get that shirt, and on the back is going to be the meme I was talking about ahead of time. Pop it into reverse, Lubu's at the gate, but it's going to be your face. All right, let's move on to the next segment before we completely derail everything. Oh, hey, it's me. Check it out. Quick Bytes and Rumor Mills, the Gaming Academy's rapid-fire roundup of the biggest stories, updates, and whispers in the gaming world from this last week. Look, last time we talked all about the Xbox shakeup and so much more, so we'll see how this week stacks up for us. First up, let's hit some news. All right, guys, Resident Evil Requiem. We talked about it at the top of the chat. We talked about before we started the podcast. It has been almost the only thing my friend group has been talking about, and for very good reason. The new release has already become one of the best ratings ever on Metacritic, holding the top spot with Claire Obscure, sharing that top spot right now with a 9.5 user score. It also hit a peak of roughly 344,000 concurrent players on Steam in its first weekend. Next up, Capcom fans, heads up. The company announced an upcoming presentation for this Thursday, March 5th at 2 p.m. PST. Featured games for this spotlight are Monster Hunter Stories 3, Pragmata, Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection, and Street Fighter 6. Speaking of beat 'em ups, I know we were talking a little bit earlier about Scott Pilgrim. I know there's some beat 'em up fans on the panel. And the Dragon Pearl of Destruction now has its release date, April 28th, 2026. The official trailer dropped during IGN FanFest detailed 12 stages in the game, local co-op, and 4 playable characters: He-Man, She-Ra, Man-at-Arms, and Tila. If we have the YouTube link, I will grab that, throw it in the chat. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of beat 'em ups or that old retro style that is this game. In case you missed it, Nintendo held an Indie World showcase actually this morning, offering a glimpse at upcoming independent titles coming to the Switch. Plenty of indie games to check out. Definitely check out the replay of that if you want to see everything. But I did have a couple quick highlights I wanted to shout out. Andre in chat called it out earlier, but Densha Attack, which is basically Tony Hawk with Japanese trains, kicked off the show. That one releases June 17th. Definitely check that one out if the tagline I just dropped interests you. Blueprints will be released on Switch 2 today. Don't Starve's developer revealed a side-scrolling co-op brawler Rotwood. Definitely check that one out. Dead Zone Rogue is an FPS sci-fi roguelike, releasing March 17th. And another one I wanted to highlight was Mini Shoot Adventures. That one shadow dropped and is actually available today on Switch 1 and 2. It's a mix of action, adventure, exploration, and twin sticks shooting. So another little blend of ideas that's pretty cool. Actually, you know what? While I'm on a Nintendo note, let me drop this one too. Late last week, in case you missed it, the next generation of the Pokemon franchise, which is Gen 10 for those counting, and now I feel super old calling that out. That was announced with a tentative 2027 release window. The reveal is for Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves. The trailer is available online, so check it out if you're interested in it. There are some hints on what the gameplay may be like, including the potential return of underwater exploration, which, if I remember right, it's been about a decade since we've seen that. Cyberpunk 2077 is coming to Xbox Game Pass this month, so if you haven't played it and didn't panic sell your Xbox after the shakeup last week, there's a good reason to boot it up. Excellent game, especially after all the updates. If you haven't given that a shot, I will not stop talking about how great that game is. This next little bit of news actually changed in the last few hours, right before we hopped on. Let's just start with what I had originally. Highguard. Highguard is continuing its fall down the gaming staircase, and as of yesterday, it fell to 105 active users on Steam. After layoffs, Tencent pulling funding, and the media storm around its release, that is roughly a 99% drop from the all-time peak at launch. So, thank you, farmers. Not sponsored. On that note, farmers, really, thank you, farmers. So the update to
Fucking
this
incredible.
I know, right? Just impeccable timing. Just high guard. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
Update.
they need insurance now.
Update. Wildlight has announced today that they have made the decision to shut down Highguard on March 12th, just 45 days after launch. It's crazy, especially after they called out in that press release that over 2 million players gave it a shot. So you can't say that people didn't give it a chance. Sony has posted at least 18 job listings at Polyphony Digital, and that is the closest we've been to hard evidence that the next Gran Turismo is now in development. Founder Yamauchi-san posted a message on the job page for the company, which had a giant headline underneath, literally calling out hiring for the next Gran Turismo. So good news for fans of the series. But where Sony giveth, Sony also taketh away. Look, we know that Blue Point Studios was recently shut down by Sony, but a new report from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg revealed a few new details. Beyond the God of War live service title the team was working on, Blue Point also pitched new projects to other PlayStation studios. This included a Ghost of Tsushima spin-off, that wasn't approved, as well as the pitch to remake Bloodborne. While they were told it made sense numbers-wise, it apparently was FromSoft who axed the idea, not wanting it to happen. All right, speaking of some older game generations, if for whatever reason you are still using your PlayStation 3 for your Netflix and chill, then bad news for you, my friends. Bad news, chat. The streaming service just announced today that it's no longer supporting a working Netflix app on the PlayStation 3. It's time to upgrade. Marathon Server Slam ran over the weekend, and impressions are all over my feed right now. I don't know about you. In honor of Quick Bytes, here's the quick and dirty news from it. Marathon made it up to number 3 in pre-sales on Steam before the event even started, and while it did drop, it did finish the end of the weekend at number 4. The player count topped out at about 143,000 concurrent players, with hundreds of thousands of Twitch views via big streamers giving it a shot. A roughly 40% drop of those concurrent players happened on day 2, though, with feedback being pretty varied. Gunplay, of course, is universally praised, no surprise as a Bungie joint, but the UI is complex and has a major onboarding problem for new players. Bungie has actually already posted a feedback sheet addressing almost every major gripe and pain point that players were having during the slam. The 6 core issues, if you're not familiar with it, just to hear about where this is at right now, because the game is releasing soon and it's all the rage to talk about this versus our graders. The core issues were UI feedback, PC performance, PvP frequency, movement and heat generation, matted ammo economy, and then their Weasel error codes as well. So pretty crazy to hear about. Just the drop off. What's that?
What is a Weasel error code? That sounds like Pauly Shore having a bad day.
If I remember right, that one has to do with connection issues. Like when I was playing Destiny 2, I got Badger as an error code pretty often with updates and stuff. It's just their naming convention for specific error codes instead of getting a stream of numbers. So a little bit of knowledge sprinkled on top of there for you.
Real honey badger don't give a shit type. Okay, like
right. That would probably be a pretty serious one. That one is the game just uninstalls itself. Very, very aggressive. All right, second part. As always, guys, rumor mill. Take this as a grain of salt. Just worth talking about so you can hear about some of the little stuff floating out there in the ether. Maybe to start some conversation, or just kind of keep in the back of your head. While there isn't an official announcement yet, so I mean this sits right in our rumor mill section. According to Bill Bilkun of Deal Labs, Starfield is coming to the PS5 on April 7th. This will also have a standard and deluxe edition. So all the talk we had last week about Xbox and the change going forward, they're still keeping with what was already there before the new leadership came in. During the recent Triple Check podcast, Jason Schreier discussed that PlayStation seems to be shifting their plans for PC releases of their titles. He shared that he thinks the strategy is for them to continue pushing live service titles releases on the platform while backing away from putting exclusives like their traditional single-player stuff on PC. In that same thread on Reset Era, Schreier actually clarified that this isn't just speculation on his part. There will be a story coming out that is detailing more, and that will be available soon. So I know that there was a couple people in chat that were in Discord discussing this, but what do you guys think about that change, that shift away from PC, especially after what we heard from Xbox and the new leadership there about wanting to bring exclusives back?
Honestly, with everything that's been happening at Xbox, and just the more I hear talk of console exclusives coming back, I'm kind of mixed on it, because there's a lot of uncertainty in the hardware space as far as just whether or not folks are going to be sticking with with the PlayStation or Xbox consoles for much longer after this generation. But seeing more console exclusives actually start coming back, or at least the possibility of console exclusives starting to come back, I'm kind of hopeful for it, because again, more often than not, console exclusives really tended to help bring out the best platform.
Oliver, you got a take on this one?
I was just thinking about how I can't remember who just recently, within a few years, maybe it was Sarah Bond. Maybe it was Sarah Bond at Xbox that was saying that console exclusives were such an antiquated idea. And it's like, wow, you couldn't be more wrong. So the idea of Sony going, hey, we're going to hold something back for ourselves. Well, that's the correct move. Right? I mean, I get the idea of what Xbox is trying to do, which is get people playing, and it's we'll make up our money through the games and not the hardware sales. But there's such important things that come along with that brand too, right? And getting people into your ecosystem. These days, people these days it's all about jeans, baby. I love this. And I was waiting. I thought it was going to happen to Ace, and it got me instead. This is like fucking hot potato. No, I think I understand the position that Sony is in, where it's like, okay, we're going to do live service stuff, but we got to keep some cookies for us, or no one's going to buy our shit, right? I think they're looking at what's going on with Microsoft and Xbox and going, okay, having too much of everything everywhere is truly a negative outcome, right? And to keep as many unique things. I mean, all I'm saying is Nintendo doesn't have this problem. Right?
Yeah, but I will say Nintendo does have plenty of its own problems.
Right, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Nintendo has its own little weird ass problems. They do, right? The Switch 2 was not well received, but their exclusivity is their exclusivity, and people show up and buy the hardware to play Nintendo games, right?
Yeah.
So, but on the flip, hey, that Helldivers 2 thing, even with all the technical issues and everything, it went over well for them, right? So maybe it's like, okay, is this actually worth our time? No, you want people to buy your PS5 and coming up the PS6, right? And they're not going to buy it if they don't have a reason to. Right? You can't get people into the PlayStation ecosystem if you don't give them a reason to go to the PlayStation ecosystem. Why would I buy that? I'll just buy it on Steam for $12.42 in 3 years, right? And people are patient. They can fucking wait. They'll do it too.
I think there's plenty of arguments to be had on either side. I know what Xbox was going for, like their plan to get everyone into their ecosystem. It made sense when Game Pass was still a good price. or gave even more incentive for people to try it on those different platforms. But like people are saying in chat too, having that exclusivity gives people reason to even buy the box. There are some games, I fully admit, I'm glad to see that they diversified. Getting Forza Horizon on PlayStation is like a home run, because that is such a good game. It's such a good racing game. And Gran Turismo is great and all, but for me it was an elevator ride. I needed something more exciting, and I felt like that could have filled the gap. Maybe certain titles like that can make the jump. Anyway, before we get too far down there, I appreciate the feedback, everyone. Just to finish up the last two rumor mills, at PlayStation Size revealed on X that GTA 6 title IDs have actually appeared on PlayStation's back end. This is generally one of the last steps before a game is listed for pre-orders, meaning there's a pretty good chance that we will see what bonuses will be available as well as the pricing of the game. Now the issue is how long until those pre-orders show up, so stay tuned there. But we're getting back-end stuff, so we're starting to see that, and hopefully that means we're going to find out very soon what that price is going to be. All right, last rumor for this week is not just an insider or a Twitter link story. Claims of a new God of War game that doesn't feature Kratos as the protag is making the rounds. A LinkedIn mention from a former senior writer who worked at Santa Monica discussed fleshing out, quote, characters, storylines, and original lore that expanded on the acclaimed IP. What adds to this, though, is several industry insiders, remember I said it wasn't just them, backing up this information with claims that they heard, rumors heard by Chapachel Nick, which is the co-founder of Playday One, pointed to Faye being the new protagonist, as well as a gameplay that was more action-based, a la Devil May Cry. Nate the Hate also corroborated these claims, which first showed up on Reset Era, that Faye is the lead and that gameplay will be more action-focused versus the Norse God of War titles. So, barring a delay, he's also claiming that the plan is to reveal it this year and release in the first half of 2027. So sounds like we're starting to see a shift potentially here. Don't know how you guys feel about that one, but it seems interesting to try to expand on it, especially with the character that has been super fleshed out in the game. There's a lot of question marks about it.
I'm always in favor of trying something new and trying to breathe new life into an IP instead of just letting it get stale and then rot away, right? And I saw the reactions to this. There was like a weird mixture of people who were really excited. They're like, "Hey, okay, that sounds interesting." You know, they're like, and the distinctions of it going, this is an offshoot of God of War. It's in the same universe. It's not even necessarily going to be called God of War, right? But a lot of other people are just ass mad right out the gate for no reason. It's like, oh, go ahead and show me. Like, I'm always down to see you just try to do something different. Like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's see what happens. Either it's going to do well or it's not, right? But
One
it's
of my
not going to be
favorite
the end of the world.
It's funny you say that too, because one of my favorite comments when I was looking up some of these articles was someone responded to that article. I think it was on Insider Gaming that I grabbed one of the quotes from. So shout out to them. The first response was, "Good. The God of War of these last few releases is utter trash." I'm just like, oh my god! Like, what a hot take you're gonna
No,
take.
tell us how you really
Like, good.
Yeah, you went spicy. You're like, okay. Now, granted,
I can understand like not being a fan, but those games are trash.
right? There's got to be a reason he has that opinion, and that I would love to hear their story about that. But it's like, oh, okay. It's like, dude, utter trash. I don't know about that. That first one was baller, especially for all the dads. We're like, oh no, I understand this. Oh no, I get this. I get it quite well now. Good Lord. Right. But no, they were clean. And, they just did this, whole thing with him as a little kid and getting to see him go through the Spartan stuff. It's like, hey, it's different. I did see Dave Jaffe is just, he's being Dave Jaffe these days.
It looked like the screenshot of the live action it looked like Kratos is just taking a dump in the woods. Kind of
It
thing.
did. And to be fair, I was like, yeah, that's a bad picture. He's like, no, I know who this actor is. He's a great actor. But yeah, it just looks like he's taking
the choice of the image was wrong. That's all I got to say.
Everything was wrong.
Yeah.
I looked at that kid and I was like, why does he look like the human version of Fievel from American Tail? I just couldn't look past it.
Nice deep cut. Nice. Deep
I couldn't look past it. I was like,
Killed Ace too.
I'm just saying. I was like, Fievel, what the fuck are you doing in Norway, man?
Fievel goes north.
I mean, is Mauskowitz a Norwegian name?
Mauskowitz. All right, we're done.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Pivot quickly, please, before we're starting to pitch Wolf
Good
in
night,
Time with
everybody.
Fightful.
And that is your week's quick bites. Bible goes and get out of here. All right. Time for our new one, our new segment of the show, the Watchdom, featuring Oliver. Let's go. Tell us more.
Okay, so it took me this many episodes. This is the 10th episode I've been on now, right? Is that about right?
Yeah.
And trying to find my little space. And so basically, what happened back when I started doing game journalism, I started as a consumer watchdog. So I would spend my time looking up, what was going on with new releases, hardware failures, things like that, or incredibly buggy releases that were just a hot mess and it's like should be avoided at all costs. And I finally realized, I'm like, wait, I should get back to that. But we're just going to start small with it. We're gonna start with savings. I think that's the most important thing. We love games, but here's the fact of the matter: we have a very, very, very expensive hobby. I hate to say it, but with game prices and everything going up, just like it was mentioned in the quick bites, we don't even know how much Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to cost, and they're talking about it maybe being $80, and that might be a bridge too far for people. So sometimes we have to run thin at our margins, especially new parents. I'm looking at Nick. I know you're broke. I know you're broke, mister. And sometimes putting gas in the tank or making sure that everyone gets to eat that week takes priority. Just because we're gamers and we're adults, we still have that sense of responsibility, right? We have to make those responsible choices, be adults, and take care of our business first and have fun afterwards when we can afford to do so. So when cash is tight and you still need to have fun, I'm going to try and find games for you that are great value for the money that you spend. And so this week, here are the games that I found. I don't have any Switch games this week. I will be adding them in the future. But for those of you who have Xboxes, so the first game that I found that is an excellent value is Dead Island 2 Ultimate Edition. It costs $6.99 on the Xbox store. And when I say this is the Ultimate Edition, it's everything. Everything. The season pass, right? With both big ass expansions. I haven't even finished the second expansion on it. All the little micro DLC, everything for the next week is going to be $7, right? Then the Sinking City is going to be it's just $5 right now, and I consider this one of the greatest Lovecraftian inspired games that I've ever played. We had a whole joke around my channel just based on the Sinking City, where I'm like, I hate this town. The name of the town in the game is Oakmont, and it turned into a catchphrase for me. We got to get the hell out of Oakmont. Like, I don't want to be here. This crazy stuff. There's ape and fish people walking around, and no one seems to be worried about this. So I 100% recommend it. They also have a sequel in the works coming up real soon, too. So that's a great time to get in, get it, and get caught up to speed before the sequel drops. For the PS5 and the PS4, games that need no real introduction, we have Hades, which is $8.74. Everyone knows this is one of the best roguelikes to come out in the past, 6-7 years or whatever. And again, you're just going to have a great time. I know Andre's been playing it recently as well. Then I wanted to shift track a little bit with Wolf Among Us, which I didn't know anything about Fables when I first started it, but my wife loves to read it. And the Wolf Among Us came out when Telltale, the original Telltale, was still around. But there's a sequel for that cooking too, and that's a great way to just get the score and find out what's up. Great original story. You're going to have a blast with it. Then I looked at PC and Steam, and there are 2 games that I have for that. So following or jumping back to that Sinking City idea, Look Outside is an indie game that takes Lovecraftian, no, I take that back, not Lovecraftian, cosmic horror, right? Takes it to a whole different level. I've never seen anything like it. It's an RPG Maker game. It is actually gruesome and just straight body horror. It is crazy to look at, and the entire game takes place inside of a single apartment as a cosmic level phenomenon is occurring, where anyone who looks outside becomes mutated in the most horrifying and grotesque ways that you can imagine. And they've continued to update the game since the launch with Devolver Digital. In fact, the game has a massive number of endings. I think the game has like 13 different endings that could possibly be achieved. I can easily recommend it to people who liked, say, Barkley, Shut Up and Jam. Like, you're gonna love it. If you want to see some weird shit and play an actually competently designed game, Look Outside is the one to go with. And then finally, or I'm sorry, I forgot to list the price for that. That's $9.99. And also at $9.99 on Steam is RoboCop Rogue City, which everyone seemed to absolutely adore. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but all I know is everyone that's played it, it's like, hell yeah, this is it. This is the RoboCop experience. So those are the deals that I have found for this week, and I'm just going to keep bringing them back for you. This week I started with under $10. Right? That's what I'm going to go with. And I'm going to always try to keep it as low as possible so that everyone has that chance to get in there and experience something that at least we know is baller. And that's what's up. Do you guys have any commentary on any of those titles?
Actually, I was about to say, if I could add one more entry on the Steam listings, because, again, I just got this over the past week. $6 on Steam right now. Speaking of, going back to our Mega Cat Studio listings.
Yeah.
WrestleQuest.
Right back to it. Macho Man.
Macho Man.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that's going to be your watchdog for the week. And I'm just going to keep tabs on that. So if you come back here, you're going to find out if you can get the score or not.
Awesome. Looking forward to more. All right, guys.
That's terribly.
No, you're good. That is the no, man. It happens with all debut episodes. That is. I love that bark. First pick. I listened to so many barks earlier. With that said, I know you guys have been missing this segment for a while. But yeah, Ace, you ready to give us the tips, the strategies, and the tricks with the tech?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back, class. Welcome back to the dojo. Strap on your gloves, because I got a little something to talk to you about. Now, you see, if there's one thing I've learned over the course of my time with the tech, and as I've further settled into my role here as professor of applied sciences, I've been reminded that to teach or even lead effectively, you gotta lean into the strengths of your students and or your teammates. With that in mind, there's an observation that I made a few years back that is proving to be evergreen both on and off the sticks. This kind of observation, it's the kind of observation that shows that no matter how old you are or how long you've been gaming, you can find everything you need in yourself to overcome any challenge. This right here is the seed that was planted in order to bring the tech to you. This is what I like to call the 3-point theoretical paradigm of tech, or the vitamin SSS, as it was mentioned earlier. So, after hunting alongside Oliver and the Headmaster in Monster Hunter Wilds, as well as recent co-op gameplay in Double Dragon Gaiden, to say that I keep coming back to this foundational theory is a bit of a foregone conclusion. Over the last couple of weeks, I've really wanted to, articulate this theory and get live discussion and feedback. And from what I've seen, gamers tend to fall into this 3-point paradigm. Now, all Triforce jokes aside, whether you're casual, pro, or any of the myriad qualifiers in between, when you get into gaming, you're likely to fall somewhere within this paradigm. At the 3 points of said paradigm are the archetypes that I like to call synchronist, synergist, and strategist. Synchronists. These are the types of gamers that really manage to immerse themselves once they lay hands on the controller and start their chosen game. They form something of a direct one-to-one connection. We're talking drift compatibility, and can play as though they are immediately experiencing the scenario built into the game. Whether you see someone, whenever you see someone like, lean with every turn of every turn that their vehicle makes on a racetrack, or flinching when their character takes a particularly brutal hit, that means that they had synced with the game to some degree. Heck,
I have a question for the tech.
Hmm?
Did you just make a fucking Pacific Rim reference?
You're damn right.
I was like, no, I have to know. Is he talking about Pacific Rim and drifting?
Yes, I am.
Oh, wow, what a pull. Amazing. Keep going. I love it. This is good.
But, let's say, for example, if you take, hero shooters like Marvel Rivals, for example. In a game like that, a pure synchronist can literally, they will find a way to fine-tune their own reaction speed and accuracy to make even seemingly lumbering tank characters like Hulk or Venom into quick-draw terrors. Like I've seen, I've sat down and I've watched some gameplay of Marvel Rivals, and I've seen, the basic gameplay behind the Hulk, and then I've seen people pull with the Hulk what I've done with Potemkin. Have you ever seen Potemkin fly? It's a frightening thing. Ask Oliver.
Yes.
Can you fly, Bobby? Moving on to the second point of this paradigm. Synergists. Now, these gamers differ from synchronists in that they're the type of folks that are more reactive as opposed to being reflexive. A pure synergist is like a good improv partner. Their greatest strength is being able to take what's presented and basically to play off of it, thereby interacting with the game that they play on more of a conversational level. Let's take free flow combat games, for example. I've discussed this on one of our previous sessions. Free flow combat games like WB's Arkham and Middle-earth titles. A perfect example of a synergist from what I have seen directly. Once again, I defer back to our watchdog and historian, Oliver. Now, gamers like Oliver tend to adjust to the flow in systems and match their own reflexes and muscle memory to these games. So in that instance, he could be counted almost as more of a synchronist. Whereas myself, I take more of a broader view, and I would play Shadow of War not as if I were Talion, but rather if it was just, this Negro right here in that same situation. Like how would I go about this with Talion's skill set and equipment on hand? So Oliver's drift compatible. I'm just here seeing patterns. The third vertex of this triangle is inhabited by folks that I like to call strategists. Strategists, these folks are the type of gamers that tend to interact with their chosen title by digging into the built-in and external meta of the game. Their domain, it's collision detection, it's frame data, it's pluses and minuses on block or hit. Those who are heavy strategists generally have a wealth of experience under their thumbs. And more often than not, they come to capitalize on this knowledge to educate as well as excel. Great examples of strategists: Tasty Steve, Ultra David, Yipes. Excellent competitors in their own right, but they really shine on commentary because they've seen in the trenches, they've seen under the hood, so they know, what to look for as far as reactions, as far as frame advantage. So, if you're actually sitting down and watching anything like any sort of competitive gaming, or even just, stuff like speedruns, a lot of the people that are commentating on this, they're doing so with intimate knowledge of the systems of their chosen game from what they've played. Hence, they're the folks in the back. They're the big brain people, the strategists. Now, all gamers tend to show traits from these three archetypes in the way they play, from the casual to the global competitor. And while everyone falls within the bounds of this triangle, pros tend to characterize one or more of these archetypes to an extreme level. At the end of the day, what's all this mean? Answer's quite simple, really. We can all excel at and enjoy gaming, not just for what gaming is, but for what we as gamers are and what we each bring to the table. Or Triforce, however you want to put it. Now, as far as this week's assignment, I haven't been doing this weekly, so as far as this session's assignment, we don't really have a major one here for you. Just give a little bit more thought to how you as an individual engage with the games that you play. Think about where your specialty tends to lie. You may not realize it at first, but looking at it through this lens, you might go, oh, okay, I've been able to do more in this particular game because I have, more knowledge of the systems. I'm not as good on the reflexes, but I can see, where each action is taking place. So just a little bit of food for thought, but also, a little bit of a deep dive into, the methodology behind the tech as it stands. But that's it. That's going to do it for this week's session. And like I always try and tell folks, just remember, play hard, train smart, and may your combos always connect.
May I add a little addendum to the end of your tech? This is one of the best techs you've ever given.
I was going to say, this is one of my favorite techs.
Hands down, this is just absolutely peak, because I can take this and break it down really, really small. Know yourself. Everything that Ace is trying to tell you with today's tech is about identify what kind of gamer you are, right? When he brought up me and synchronicity, this, and talking about free flow combat and their synergists, and no, these archetypes are real. They absolutely exist, right? This isn't something Ace made up. No, you can really, really dig a lot into a person based on how they're reacting to perceived stimuli, and how he talked about with where I just part of me is in the game. There's no question. When I'm playing Monster Hunter, I treat it as if it's a thing that is currently happening to me. So even though I'm losing reflexes over time, people are still like, how the hell did you react that fast? I'm like, I didn't. I saw it coming 3 miles away and just stepped to the left because I was like, oh, look, car coming, right? No, it wasn't reflexes, but by the time it shows up, it looks like I've just moved that quick. No, not at all. This is a very real thing. And a lot of people struggle with this because they spend their time buying games that they don't necessarily enjoy because everyone else says you have to do it, instead of finding the games that they enjoy and figuring out, okay, maybe it's not a case of I don't like games. Maybe I keep getting presented with the wrong ones, right? All I'm saying is this: there is exactly one bitch on earth you don't want to fuck with when it comes to a game, because you're going to get your shit rocked. Don't you ever go up against no housewife in Tetris. They take that shit seriously, and you will get absolutely dominated by these people. They do that. They do it all day, every day. They know Tetris. Don't do it. You ever do that Tetris 99 on the Nintendo Switch? Oh no, it's a fucking tragedy. You're going to see grown-ass men cry because they will eat you alive and go, stack up, bitch. And you're like, you know what? No. I go, no, I'm not going to stack. I'm going to take my shit and go home. That's what's up. You can have this one. These people know exactly who they are and what they're playing. And that's where it really comes down to. Know thyself. right? Just
And-
know what you're all about.
And consider this, because it's not just I don't bring this topic up just to say just to teach a fellow martial artist that the best thing they can do is to know themselves. But this also goes back to our two of our overarching topics: gaming with intention and gaming as you get older. You don't have to worry about how old you are if you still like the game. Just consider that the types of games that you play and enjoy may change as you get older. And considering that, that's going to help you spend your money more wisely and more effectively in the long run.
Yeah, you'll have a better experience with your games. It's funny that this Triple S lesson for today really echoes the book written by Gary Chapman, The 5 Love Languages, right, in communication. And so it also shows you, it shows how one should properly love somebody, right? So this way they can be loved the way they know how to be loved, or how they appreciate being loved. Right? And this is kind of the same thing with your love for the game, right? Are these games resonating with you in that manner? And also, I would like to add that, like, with coming of age, and you brought this up, Ace, is that when you lack or your skills deteriorate in one segment of this Triple S trigram, right? You can make up for it in the other ones. And my personal experience with this is I may be losing my reflexes, right? And I might not be as synchronous as I was before, but with the experience that I've had over time playing fighting games, I become more of a strategist, right? And that's how I make up for what I've lost. So just know that, guys. Know yourself. This was a wonderful lesson of the tech. Awesome. Anything else?
Just one more thing. No matter where you fall in that paradigm, none of your 3 values will ever hit 0. So you can take heart in that too.
Cool. Sounds so good to me. Yeah.
All right, create that Muso Good icon so we can get that in chat.
Oliver, you okay over there?
No. I'm not okay.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually, chat. Don't worry. We'll get some merch, more merch your way. It's all upcoming. Don't worry. We just want to get you guys excited and hyped for it. So, speaking of hype, all right, tonight's final boss is titled "Completion Isn't Always the Goal." So if you've played games and you're a completionist, just know that, hey, that's your thing. Awesome. But for those that are pressured to feel like they have to complete 100% of the game, I think completing a game is based on what's your, definition of completion, right? So I want to kind of jump into this for tonight. And let's see, go ahead and pop. There's my monitor here. Cool. We'll jump on there. All right.
I was about to say, is Oliver our final boss?
Right.
Be careful putting him up there. We might get another ad break.
Yeah. All right. Cue music. All right. Tonight's final boss. Completion isn't always the goal. There's a quiet pressure in gaming. These unfinished quest logs, the missing trophy, the map still covered in icons. Somewhere along the way, we started believing. If it's not 100%, it's not complete. But who decided that? Look at Skyrim. Millions of players never finished the main story. Look at Minecraft. There's no true ending. In Breath of the Wild, wandering is the design. And in Elden Ring, you can miss entire bosses and still have a full experience. The journey is not personal, not standardized. Sid Meier once said, a game is a series of interesting decisions, not a checklist. Shigeru Miyamoto reminded us that rushing something ruins it because experience matters more than speed. Hell, even Miyazaki builds worlds where discovery is optional. Completion isn't enforced, exploration is invited. But modern culture pushes something else. track everything, finish everything, optimize everything. We turn play into productivity. And eventually we stop asking, am I enjoying this? And start asking, did I finish it? But gaming never taught us to complete everything. It taught us to explore, taught us to experiment, to discover. Some of the most meaningful moments in games happen off the main path. The random encounter, the hidden area, the unexpected loss. Not required for completion, but essential for meaning. And life works the same way. Now, you don't need every achievement unlocked. You don't need every box checked. You don't need 100%. Sometimes the experience is complete long before the progress bar is full, because completion measures progress, but meaning measures impact. And impact is what stays with us after the credits roll. You don't have to finish everything to finish what truly mattered. And that is your final boss for tonight. What do you guys think?
100% agree. 120% agree. Sometimes when I play a game, doing everything is that experience for me. And then a lot of times it's like, nope, I did what I want to do, and there's no reason for me to chase shit down. How we talked about Final Fantasy X earlier in this episode. That me recording and do all that, and you know, here's what my boss said to me when I showed him that tape. He's like, "Did you go get all the ultimate weapons?" And I was like, "There's no fucking point. There's no stat tied to those weapons. It's just merely slots." I was like, I saw no reason to waste the time pursuing down these hard challenges that ultimately weren't going to change the end game experience for me. So I've never completed everything in Final Fantasy X. I didn't fight Yojimbo. I didn't do that shit. I was
Ain't no
like,
way
no,
I'm dodging no 200 lightning bolts on the Thunder Plains. The hell with that.
ain't doing it. It's not happening, right? Or as you just mentioned with Breath of the Wild, kiss my ass. I'm not chasing down all them stupid ass Korok kids putting themselves in dangerous fucking situations. I get so mad every time one of those little bastards pop up. Aha, you found me. I was like, I to send you back to your mama. Like, you know, I'm irate over
With that,
that.
send him to Stephen Hurst. Send him to Jesus.
Right. I'm like, no, you going back to the Lord immediately. Right now. No, I get mad every time because I think I'm going to stumble into something else. So for me, even though those two games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I consider some of the greatest games of all time, and I will never be a 100% completionist on them. No, I don't have time for that shit, right? I'm playing Pacific Drive. I got scary people sneaking up on me when I'm trying to put gas in the car, okay? I have other priorities. So no, you're absolutely right. Every single gamer, you get to decide when you're done with the game. I've got one guy in Wilds that has no desire whatsoever to do Proof of a Hero or do any of the Arc Tempereds. For him, the game stopped at Gogmazios. He's like, nope, anything else past this point is just me grinding for the sake of grinding on hard things, and that's not fun to me. So I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I'm just not going to pressure him. I'm like, I can't wait till the expansion comes, right? And then we'll do the same thing again. And then he's going to stop when he decides he's done. And I respect him more for that, for knowing his own line instead of social pressure and peer pressure.
Well done. Well done. Ace, Nick?
I've always said that I'm a completionist gamer, and that has been very, very true. However, as I've gotten older and my time has shrunk, I am definitely on what we were just talking about, just being more particular about my time and how I spend it. There's some things I just know I'll just never finish, and I have to be okay with that. There's very few games that resonate with me so much that I have to platinum them. The 2-point games that I mentioned before, I love those games so much. It's a callback to my childhood while being updated. Those ones on Steam, I 100%. Like, I love spending time in them. It's easy. It's a way to zone out. But games like, and I mention it all the time, but any of the Like a Dragon series, I'm not doing every minigame. I just don't have time. I love spending time in that world, and there's certain minigames, like, again, Cabaret Club Manager here. I will play that all day over and over again versus ever playing Mahjong again. Like, I'm also not gonna. I love going around and eating every food in the game because it's funny and it's checking those boxes and gets me some funny things on it. But I started to get burned out a lot when Ubisoft became a thing with its open worlds and everything was just a checkbox and marking things off a map. Eventually, I finally just got burned out on it. I started realizing I just don't have that same drive anymore. It's got to be the right game for me.
Well, good point. Good point. Ace?
Yeah, for me, I've never been a completionist flat out. Like even with all the time that I may have, for me, it's not about doing everything in the game. I mean, I'm thankful for the option, but it's more about doing everything I want to do in that game. I mean, I'm going back through Grand Blue Fantasy Relink because number one, I think the game is fun as hell. But number two, I see leveling these characters up as a chance to really start digging into more how each one uniquely plays. So there's something in it for me for doing a lot of what's there in the game. But there are some things, especially like some RNG stuff and some bosses that I'm just like, y'all can have that. I'm just over here chilling.
Yeah, I would say for me, it really started when I decided to play Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3 in a row, and the second one, I think the first one didn't have trophies or something, or it was easy to get trophies because I tried to platinum 2, and I platinumed the first one. This is what it really is. I platinumed the first one, and I got so burned out on getting everything that on 2 I skipped all the additional stuff because I was like, I'm doing the same thing all over again. Right. So that's burnout right there. Second, completing something when it stops being fun, you should stop it. I know I speak from experience because Dynasty Warriors 7 was a game that I really enjoyed. It's one of my favorite Dynasty Warriors. And I wanted to platinum it. And one of the silver trophies was to get everybody to level 17 or something. And bro, it was not fun anymore. I was playing the same optimal stage, the optimal route to level up, and I was like, "Is this this is not fun. Like I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not having a good time, and it's just making me hate the game that I like." So that was really like my truth to power when I was like, I'm good on completionist, but I did platinum RoboCop Rogue City, so go play it. Check it out. It's an awesome game. Under $10.
That's what's up.
Check that. Yeah, that's all I got. Anything else before we close out the show, guys? You guys want to add or anything?
The only thing I had to add is something that came across my desk. I couldn't fit into quick Bytes, but Bandai Namco will announce a brand new RPG this week. So they did an announcement online that says new RPG reveal March 5th. Keep an eye out.
It's not dot hack. Does that count?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Nope.
I thought it would be.
There's a short teaser on their official fan page, but it doesn't look like the typical like Tales games.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see. I don't know. There's a lot of people throwing stuff out there, but right now they're just saying it's a new RPG reveal. So
exciting.
We'll see what we get.
Exciting
score.
Yeah,
it's gonna be sweet. I just think the only interesting thing that may or may not get brought up, it depends on what Apple is doing tomorrow. Right, because they're going to be introducing new hardware, and everyone knows that gaming on things like Mac and things like that are spotty propositions at best. But from what I hear, they're going to be introducing a very, very low-cost MacBook, basically for the first time. And I just thought that was so interesting. So I'm going to keep my eyes on that tomorrow. And if anything interesting comes up with that, especially regarding price point or performance in regards to gaming, I'm definitely going to make sure I let Nick know about that because, I can tell you this. My wife played Death Stranding on the iPad. It definitely works, and it looks very good. Right, so
that's wild.
Apple wants to be taken seriously in this regard. And now I'm going, okay, let's see what you're going to do. That's what's up.
I mean, look, affordability is a thing. Like, just as a quick thing, we've been talking about AAA space versus indies. It's across the board. This is something we've talked about in the brewing industry, actually, is about making pints of beer like $5. And it to a lot of people, like in the business space or I've seen a lot of these breweries, like we're always lamenting the cost going up on things. Like a pint of this is now like $9. Like that doesn't seem worth it. It's that idea of filling the gap with volume. So a lower price point that more people would be interested because of that price point. Also having a good product, don't get me wrong, but just making that affordability, like intention behind your product and making up for the shortfall with volume. And that's kind of what we're seeing with a lot of these indie titles is they're coming in with this lower price point, giving you this package to play, this better product, and selling more and more copies, and not needing a giant funding from Tencent that gets pulled when you don't perform, right? So, yeah,
Right.
it's across the board kind of thing. This is outside the industry and beyond, but it's you can see it in everyday life now. It's becoming a thing.
Seeing that weird, I wouldn't say contradiction, but kind of like what we were talking about. I mean, to see High Guard fall, to see Concord fall, and to see Ponkel with Vampire Survivors. This shit is $3. You go play it for at least 700 hours. You're like, there's no chance in hell. And 700 hours later, you're like, that was the greatest $3 I've ever spent. Right? They're making hand over fist. So it's kind of tricky just watching how that's gonna shake out. And I hope something really neat is about to happen.
I'm really hoping. I'm saying hoping. I'm it's not my kind of game. I'm hoping Marathon doesn't just become the next like failure in this regard. I do want to see Bungie do well. But just like the stuff we're seeing, there's of course the shouting that this is just another live service failure. And unfortunately, we said it before, this is kind of like the generation for it. This current generation of gaming is just going to be marked by this live service games as a service thing. And that's too bad because there's just so many good titles that are not that have really defined it.
Yep. I agree with all that. It's an interesting time in the gaming industry, folks. So, but yes, that unfortunately brings us to the end of tonight's class. Tonight, we talked about the importance of taking your vitamin SSS, vitamin strategy, vitamin skill, and vitamin systems, and more. Do all that. And of course, have a healthy balance of Muso cereal. Because the difference between playing a game and mastering a game often comes down to understanding how those three elements work together. Tonight, we also debuted our new segment, The Watchdog, which I'm looking forward to because I love finding out good deals on great games. So now we have someone, specifically for that as well. We'll continue highlighting underrated releases, good deals, and sleeper hits that deserve your attention because sometimes the best games aren't the ones with the biggest marketing budgets. They're the ones quietly waiting. They're the ones quietly waiting for the right players to discover them. And that's exactly what we're here to do at the Academy. If you enjoyed tonight's class, make sure you follow the channel, join the community, share the show with a fellow gamer. We highly appreciate it because the Academy isn't just about games. It's about learning and improving, and we're doing it all together with great-minded people all around us. And of course, increase your gamer quotient. All right. But until next time, you've trained, you've leveled up. Now go out there and face your final boss, guys. Class is officially dismissed.
Mission complete.
There's audio. It's gone. Oh no! All right.